No studios have ever said that. Look at my IMDb. It will show you that no studio has ever lost money with me on the script. And they'll just go out and they'll lie. The industry doesn't mess with Katt because he didn't show up for the studio.
Hollywood's about to change forever. Katt Williams just dropped a truth bomb that's shaking Tinseltown to its core. He's calling out the fake woke celebs, the manufactured careers, and the stolen jokes. You thought you knew these stars. Think again. Williams is here to show you what's really behind those million-dollar smiles.
All lies will be exposed, that's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. This is like Steve Harvey telling people he used to be homeless. That's my story. That's not his story. Steve Harvey wasn't never homeless, right? But he's telling you something no one's ever heard of. Nobody has ever heard.
Y'all heard Steve Harvey's rags to riches story, right? The one where he was homeless, sleeping in his car before he hit it big. Well, Katt Williams ain't buying it. He's calling BS on the whole thing, and let me tell you, he's got some tea to spill. So Steve's out here saying he was living rough, no roof over his head, just his trusty car for shelter. Sounds pretty tough, doesn't it? Makes you want to root for the guy. But hold up a second, Katt's saying that ain't how it went down at all. According to Katt, Steve was actually doing alright for himself. He was on tour with Mark Curry, making decent money.
Mark Curry was touring with him 25 years ago. He was making $3,000 a show in cash. That's my story. That's not his story. Steve Harvey wasn't never homeless.
Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm making good cash on a tour, I'm not gonna be sleeping in my car. Something doesn't add up here, folks. Katt's not just questioning the homeless story. He's going after Steve's whole country bumpkin image. You know, that down-home, aw-shucks persona Steve's been selling us for years. Katt's saying it's all an act. A carefully crafted image to make Steve seem more relatable. More like one of us. But here's where it gets real interesting. Katt's got some wild stuff to say about Steve's hair. Yeah, you heard me right. His hair. And get this. Katt's claiming the reason Steve ain't a movie star is all tied up in this hair business. I know, it sounds crazy, but Katt's not one to hold back. So what's the deal here? Is Steve Harvey's homeless story just another Hollywood fairy tale? Are we being sold a bunch of lies wrapped up in a nice, inspirational package? It's got me thinking about all those other celebs with their heartwarming stories of struggle and success. How many of them are actually true? But wait, there's more. Steve's not the only one Katt's putting on blast. He's got dirt on a whole bunch of Hollywood types, and he's not afraid to spill it all. Buckle up, folks, because this ride's about to get a whole lot bumpier.
How it don't line up that I did it on TV in 2018. You came to see me at the Comedy Store do it in 2019. Cedric did the same thing. Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Katt Williams' joke? Yeah. He said, it don't line up.
So you thought Steve Harvey was the only one Katt's calling out? Ha! Cedric the Entertainer's next on the chopping block. Ever wonder if your favorite comedian's jokes are really their own? Katt's got some tea about a stolen punchline that'll make you question everything. Let's talk about Cedric the Entertainer. You know him, right? Smooth, funny, been around forever, but Katt's saying Cedric's not as original as you might think. In fact, he's calling him out for straight up stealing one of his best jokes. Picture this. Katt's at the Comedy Store, killing it with his best material. The crowd's loving it. And who's sitting there, watching the whole thing? Cedric. Next thing you know, that same joke shows up in Kings of Comedy. Coincidence? Katt doesn't think so. Now, Cedric's denying it, of course. He's saying the timelines don't match up, but Katt's not buying it. He says he did the joke on TV in 2018. Cedric saw it in 2019, and then used it in Kings of Comedy. Katt's like, do the math, people.
Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. If I didn't know no better, I'd tell you he's the greatest. I don't care what you say. The Chris Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey. Oh, Lord.
You gotta wonder how many other jokes out there aren't really theirs. Is this just the tip of the iceberg? Katt seems to think so. He's talking about this tight-knit comedy alliance, like some secret club with Cedric and Steve Harvey. He says they're all protecting each other, controlling the whole narrative in the industry. But here's the thing, there's no video proof of this joke theft. It's Katt's word against Cedric's. So who do you believe? The established king of comedy, or the guy calling him out? It's wild to think about, right? These big name comedians we've been watching for years, laughing at their jokes. What if some of those punchlines were stolen? What if the kings of comedy aren't as royal as we thought? But stealing jokes is just the start of this comedy drama. Katt's not just talking about lifted punchlines, he's pulling back the curtain on the whole industry. He's saying there's more fake stuff going on than just a few stolen jokes. And let me tell you, what he's got to say next is gonna blow your mind.
There being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words. In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show.
Alright, so Kevin Hart's everywhere, right? Movies, TV, you name it. But Katt Williams, he's not buying it. He's got this wild theory about Kevin being a Hollywood plant. What's that mean? Let's get into it. Katt's saying nobody remembers Kevin selling out shows back in the day. No standing ovations, no packed houses, so how'd he get so big? Katt thinks the industry picked Kevin out like he was on some kind of comedy shelf. They wanted a safe, family-friendly guy, and Kevin fit the bill. You gotta wonder, right? How does a comedian go from zero to hero without paying their dues? Katt's been in the game for 15 years, and he's calling BS on Kevin's rise to fame. He's saying Hollywood handpicked Hart to be their golden boy, their clean-cut comedian who wouldn't ruffle any feathers. Remember that movie Soul Plane? Katt says he turned it down because it was stereotypical as hell.
I mean, but you know, some of these people...
Martin tried to put me in my first dress. I almost died. And I gotta read this script from all these good white people. Why do you think Gary Owen can't cross over and he already white and been in comedy for 25 years? If what I say ain't the case.
But Kevin, he jumped right in. It's like he was willing to do whatever it took to get that Hollywood stamp of approval. Katt's saying Kevin's more interested in being popular than being real. So you gotta ask yourself, is Kevin Hart really that funny, or is he just what Hollywood wants us to think is funny? It's like they've got this cookie cutter mold for what a successful black comedian should be, and Kevin fits it perfectly. No edges, no controversy, just safe, marketable comedy. Katt's not pulling any punches here. He's saying the whole industry's more interested in image than talent. They want someone who will play ball, who won't rock the boat. And Kevin, he's their star player. But here's the thing, is Katt just jealous? Or is he pulling back the curtain on how Hollywood really works? Maybe it's a bit of both. Either way, it's got me thinking about all these comedians we see on TV. How many of them are the real deal? And how many are just Hollywood's perfect little puppets? This whole thing's bigger than just Kevin Hart though. It's about the entire comedy landscape. Katt's saying it's not about who's the funniest anymore. It's about who's the most marketable, who's gonna toe the line and not cause any trouble. And that's a pretty scary thought, isn't it? So what do you think? Is Kevin Hart a genuine comedy star, or is he just another product manufactured by Hollywood? It's a tough call, but one thing's for sure, Katt Williams ain't afraid to ask the hard questions. And he's not done yet. There's more Hollywood tricks he's ready to expose. So you thought Katt Williams was done exposing Hollywood? Think again. He's taking aim at the whole woke celebrity culture, and let me tell you, it ain't pretty. Katt's saying all these celebs preaching about justice and equality? It's all a big act. They're living in mansions, flying private jets, but want to act like they care about the little guy. Yeah, right. Take Tiffany Haddish. Katt's not buying her rise to fame. He says she didn't grind for years like most comedians. Nah, she just got placed there by Hollywood. Katt's even throwing shade, saying, you can't tell me your favorite Tiffany Haddish joke because she ain't done a tour yet. Ouch. And what about all those comedians who blew up after being on Joe Rogan's podcast? Katt's not impressed. He thinks they're just riding Rogan's coattails, not showing any real talent. It's like, congrats, you got famous for sitting in a chair and talking. Real impressive, guys. Katt's pointing out how these woke celebs are living it up while pretending to care about social issues. He's calling out the whole industry in his Netflix special, Woke Folk. He's like, how come we can give $100 billion to Ukraine, but we can't talk about reparations for Black Americans? Makes you think, doesn't it? It's all about image, not substance. These celebs are more worried about looking good on Instagram than actually doing something real. Katt's saying they're just putting on an act, trying to score points with the public. But here's the thing, Katt's not just running his mouth, he's ready to back it all up. He's calling out specific names, specific situations. He's not afraid to ruffle some feathers, to ask the hard questions. So what do you think? Is woke Hollywood just another act put on by fake celebrities? Are we being played by these millionaires pretending to care about us? Katt Williams sure thinks so. And after hearing all this, it's kinda hard to disagree with him, isn't it? So there you have it, folks. Katt Williams just blew the lid off Hollywood's biggest secrets. And let me tell you, it ain't pretty. These celebs we've been idolizing, turns out they might not be all that. But here's the real question. What are you gonna do with this info? You gonna keep watching these fake celebs pretending everything's all good? Or are you gonna start asking some real questions? Remember, just because someone's famous doesn't mean they're telling you the truth. Katt's out here saying, I always tell my fans the truth. And yeah, he's taking heat for it. But he's not backing down. He says he's walked away from millions of dollars to keep my integrity intact.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, but you know, some of these people.
Martin tried to put me in my first dress 4 times just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right.
That's some real talk right there. So what's it gonna be, or Shaggy? You gonna keep swallowing whatever Hollywood feeds you? Or are you gonna start thinking for yourself? The choice is yours. But let me tell you, after hearing what Katt's got to say, it's kinda hard to look at these celebs the same way, isn't it?